All right, all right, all right.
And in my head,
Let's
What's
go.
up, everyone?
This one is special. This one is a special.
Loving that we're seeing so many people pop in here. I see Curtis Shewall. I see some people. We've got some people who haven't been on here in a while. The energy, the momentum is crazy right now. How about last week, guys? Everybody feeling the energy and the momentum? Good stuff. I'm super, super pumped about today's gap as we kick off, obviously, this week. And we have the pleasure of having one of the most inspiring leaders that I've had the pleasure of following for, in my career. There's people that you just watch and you're like, wow, that is someone that has consistently done it right over and over and over again. And I'm super excited that we have this guest. But before we kick into our guest, as we let some more people come in, guys, this is a moment that you take that screenshot of the image and you share, and you make sure anyone who didn't get the invite or maybe missed the invite, that we continue to share this screenshots, because we don't want people to miss this. The good news is we're going to have the replay. The replay is going to be available, but we're inviting everyone to get to be a part of this, whether it's post or in the moment. And even if they're late, let's invite them, because they're not going to want to miss this one. Momentum is so important, as we know last week. And by the way, if you're not at EXP, it's okay. We welcome everybody, no matter what brokerage you're with. We hopefully can give you value. But one of the things I'm super, super excited about, Carlos, is the power of momentum, energy, and leadership, right? And we experienced what that looks like in business last week. Our company, I think, is here. It's arrived, EXP 2.0, live from NASDAQ. We watched magic happen. Guys, winners want to be around winners, and that's why you guys are all here. Carlos, I'll let you kind of recap what you felt from afar, from a distance, before we intro our leader. Our guest speaker today, who's a phenomenal leader. Oh, did you freeze up? All right, Carlos froze up. It's okay. Oh, there you go, Carlos.
No, maybe my internet might be a little bit shaky, but here's the thing. Our company is attracting some massive, massive talent. And it's because this is where the pros come to grow their business. It doesn't matter if your vision is to sell 5 more houses, 10 more houses, or 1,000 more houses, or expand globally, is the place to be. And obviously we have Joshua Smith, who joined us recently, Spring B, absolute powerhouse, incredible. We had Abel. We have so many amazing people joining us at EXP, because this is where we're growing. I was looking at a chat, the presentation, the new presentation that they put out. Oh my God, that just makes it so clear. The amount of sales per agent, nobody competes. Like, it is the amount of volume that we're doing.
Oh, Carlos froze out of there.
Go ahead, take it over, B.
Much away from our guest speaker today. One of the things I hope anybody learns from here is, when you're committed to the game and we're committed to building something special, guys, we come together and we bring some of the best, brilliant minds together. And ultimately, it just takes those special human beings that can change the game. And Joshua Smith has been one of those amazing leaders that just goes to prove that winners want to be around winners. We're here to impact. Regardless, if you're not here today, we'll be here when it matters. And if you're never here, we still are going to give back to you, because that's what leaders do. And I'm honored today to have Josh Soto, who is going to have the pleasure of introducing Joshua Smith, no pun intended. Josh Soto, Josue Soto, the one and only, someone who's an amazing leader for our organization, who helped set this up. Please, brother, take it away. Introduce GSD, baby.
Good morning, Global Alliance. So I had the privilege of introducing this amazing leader, a great friend of mine. He got licensed in 2005, exactly 20 years ago, sold 48 homes in his first year in 2005. He was recognized in 2006 as a 30 under 30, which is amazing. A year and a half later, sold, by the way, up to date right now, sold over 7,000 homes. Let me repeat myself, 7,000 homes. He was the 30 top. He was voted 30 top realtor in America. Coached over 5,000 agents throughout our country, and he's the host. And this is, the majority of you guys probably know him by that. He is the founder, the legend of the GSD Mode podcast, Global Alliance. Let's give a warm welcome to my man, my friend, Joshua Smith.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. Truly honored to be here. And just a quick correction to that introduction. So 30 under 30, I think, was 2011. So it's actually that last year. Because anybody that's under the age of 30 that's in this industry, it's typically like their dream to get that 30 under 30 spot. And that's actually where I met Leo Preja. So Leo Preja and I won 30 under 30 in the same year, became really close friends, and that was a big influence in my decision to join this amazing organization, this amazing company with EXP, because Leo is hands down the most brilliant human being I've ever met inside of our industry. But again, really stoked, honored to be here with you guys. I do not have a presentation. I'm just going to jam with you. I'm going to walk you through what I believe to be the most important things that we need to be focusing on here in 2025. I do have the chat box up, so I want to make this as interactive as possible. So if you have any specific questions as I'm going through, we can also jump into Q&A at the end. I've got a hard stop in about 40 minutes. So, and I'm probably going to go fast. That's just my speed. I talk fast, I move fast, I walk fast. Everything I do is fast, right? So with that being said, before I jump in, I just want you guys to understand and know, because I know that there's so many out there struggling right now. Number one, you are in the right vehicle. I have so many reaching out to me throughout our industry on a daily basis that are having considerations of getting out of the industry. I mean, we've all heard the stats where like 70% of realtors did not close one single transaction in 2024. It is hands down the hardest real estate market that I've seen in the 20 years I've been doing this. And that includes the great financial crisis. The great financial crisis, worst housing market crash in recorded history, was a freaking cakewalk to what we're experiencing right now, overall. But that does not mean that we can't create massive success. And that does not mean that 2025 can't be and shouldn't be the best year of your entire career, which I'll do a deeper dive into what you must shift, pivot, and adapt to doing. But where I was going with this earlier is like, look, dude, you are in the right spot. There's nothing more vulnerable right now than the corporate world. We are so blessed to be in a situation where our fate's in our own hands. Look, if you look at like this inflation issue that's going on, because a lot of people, what they don't talk about is, yeah, we've got CPI inflation. But when you have a government that is now forced into a position where they need to print $1 trillion every 100 days just to cover the interest on the debt and to cover social programs that they have in place right now, that's 8% inflationary year over year. So we, for a long time to come, we are going to expect the cost of life to get 11% or so more expensive year after year after year. Most people are not in a position like you and I, where it's like, okay, hey, if life is going up 11% every single year, we just got to make sure our business is growing by 11% year over year, or better yet, make sure that your business is growing 20 or 30% year over year, so your quality of life continues to improve. And most people are not blessed to be in this situation, a position like we are. And I can just tell you from experience that real estate, not just is only the best vehicle I've ever experienced. I've been involved in a lot of different ventures, a lot of different industries out there, a lot of different businesses. But the best venture, best vehicle I've ever seen. But it's changed every aspect of my life. Because people will hear my success trajectory, my journey. Oh, you sold 7,000 homes, you had 48 homes your first year, 103 your second, did over 300 your third, just kept skyrocketing from there. Well, look, dude, I have struggled well over half of my career. Like I have made it, I have lost it, I have made it, I have lost it more times than I can count because I wasn't disciplined with my money. I was always good at making it, but never keeping it, right? So dude, I have gotten the living shit kicked out of me so many times in this industry, and I've yet to meet or yet to have come into encounter with anybody in this industry or any entrepreneur, anybody that's created big success in any aspect of their life that hasn't went through hell and back. Like the one difference between the Veronicas, the Jose's, the top of this industry, it's not that, God does not reserve problems for a select few. We all experience massive problems. We all experience massive pain. We all go through our personal shitstorms. Those that create big success, they just don't stop. They don't quit. They learn from those lessons. They improve from those lessons, and they never stop. They never quit. And then boom, over time, it pays off. All right. So then from there, a mental philosophy that I highly encourage and recommend to all of you guys to abide by. This is a philosophy that my first mentor taught me. that has served me extremely well throughout my whole entire career is that there is no such thing as a good market or a bad market. You got to get that crap out of your head. The market is always good for somebody. As real estate professionals, it is our job at the highest level to identify whom the market is good for, pivot, shift, adapt accordingly when it comes to our focus, our marketing, our prospecting, our energy, and our efforts to whom the market is good for. So I always treat real estate as like, okay, you've got the real estate itself. And I look at this like a science experiment. This is the control that doesn't change. Okay, here's the real estate in my geographical location. My job as a real estate professional is to know that product and to move that product. The variable that's always moving, that's always shifting and always changing is who's buying it, who's selling it, why they're buying it, why they're selling it, where they're coming from, where they're going. So again, our job is to move this product, know this product inside and out. Then from there, when we shift, pivot, and identify and adapt to whom the market is good for, then you're always going to go out there and create success. One of the reasons why so many people struggle is they do the same crap that they're doing in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and they're applying those same tactics and strategies today when the market is greatly shifted. I saw the same thing during the great financial crisis. I got in this game in 2005. 2005 was very, very similar to 2020, 2021. It was just crazy, insane shit show. But then the market shifted very quickly, fell off a cliff, and then we entered the worst housing market crash in recorded history. Okay, well, the real estate was still moving. Real estate's trading hands every single day, always has, always will. Whenever I get people that come to me like, oh, Josh, you just don't understand. No, nobody's buying or selling in my market. I'll just jump on Google. I'm like, was that true? Right? We'll go out there Google. I'm like, dude, homes are selling every single day in every single one of our markets. They just haven't pivoted, shifted, and adapted. I saw this again going into the great financial crisis. We immediately had about 40% of realtors drop out of the industry. But that's because they didn't adapt. They were going from traditional business, but they didn't adapt into distressed properties, into short sales, into investors, so if you learn to read the markets and understand that, again, the market is always good for somebody, it is your job at the highest level to identify whom the market is good for, shift and adapt accordingly. Then from there, I want you to understand that my first mentor, used to always tell me, so I had a great, amazing mentor for the first 9 years of my career. People always ask me like, dude, how did you close 48 deals your first year, 103 your second, continue that growth? I'm like, there's two things. Number one, I was sick and tired of feeling like a loser and being a loser. I was a college dropout, never made more than $10 an hour before I got into real estate. And I was just sick and tired of being broke, and I was sick and tired of being a loser. So until we get to that point in our life where we're sick and tired of our current situation, just how human behavior works. Until you get sick and tired and the pain of the status quo outweighs the pain of the change, human beings typically don't make the necessary changes that they need to make. So I was willing to, I had that fire, had that passion. I was willing to do whatever the hell it took because I was sick and tired of being a damn loser. The second thing that I did is I found the biggest badass that I possibly could in my market, and I figured out how to go align with them and be mentored by them and work with them so they could give me the roadmap. Because I'm like, dude, I'm 23 years old, never been in business. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I have little life experience, little real estate experience, zero business experience. I'm like, I need the roadmap. So I aligned with the right mentor that could give me the roadmap, but then I had to execute on that roadmap, and that's where that passion came into play. But he would also always tell me that great agents will make way more money in hard markets. Great agents make more in down markets, challenging markets, hard markets, than they do in good markets. And it never made sense to me until I experienced my first hard market. Because when you're in a seller's market, like we experienced in 2020, 2021, right? Like anybody's cousin that's part-time, you go throw a sign in the ground, shit sells. There's also low-hanging fruit. You can get away with having very limited skill set and go out there and crush it. In a challenging market, man, it takes skill set. It's he or she, it's the best operator that wins. It takes a shifting and adapting of our operation style to go out there and succeed. So I want to lead with that before I get into talking about what to expect for 2025. Because I don't want this to sound doom and gloom. I'm not here to fear porn you guys. There's no reason why 2025 can't be and shouldn't be the best year of your career. But when we look at, okay, what to expect and what am I doing to plan on 2025? I am planning on 2025 being a harder year than we saw in 2024 and a much harder year than we saw in 2023. And we're already seeing the evidence of this. If you look at year to date already, transaction volume is the lowest that we've seen in 30 years. Then if you look at new mortgage purchase applications, right now, the lowest that we've seen in 35 years, so since 1990. So when you factor though in, and you start thinking about that, okay, with the increase of population, increase of number of realtors versus transaction volume, this is really the tightest and probably most challenging real estate market that we've ever seen in recorded history as a country. And the reality is, as the economy and things are probably going to get much worse before they get better, because we're experiencing this tight climate here in the real estate space, not just because real estate's so unaffordable and with interest rates, because if that was the case, you look at a market like mine, my market is correcting very, very fast. Right, we went from a crazy seller's market to now we're transitioning into a hardcore buyer's market really damn fast. So like, and okay, the city that I'm in right now, we are already in crash, quote unquote, crash territory. A crash is just a correction beyond 20%. So okay, the average real estate, price 2 years ago at the peak, 2.5 years ago at the peak, would sell for about 100 to 150 grand higher than what I can get them today. So prices have softened dramatically. Interest rates are lower than they were at the peak. So real estate is much more affordable than it was a couple years ago in my market. However, transaction volume keeps declining. Buyer demand keeps declining. And why? Because we've now entered the most unaffordable time to be alive as a U.S. citizen. No point in time in U.S. recorded history has it been so damn expensive just to operate life. Remove real estate from it. Every time you go to the grocery store, when you go buy eggs, you go eat out, like just life has gotten so insanely unaffordable where the average person is breaking. You want to go see an interesting graph, go Google St. Louis Federal Reserve consumer debt to savings chart. So the St. Louis Federal Reserve is the Department of Federal Reserve that is in charge of collecting consumer data. And when you go look at that chart, it is freaking mind-blowing, dude. So when we've never seen consumer debt to savings rate, the gap be this wide. We've never seen it accelerating at this place. I mean, it's like 4 times the gap that we saw during the great financial crisis. So what that shows is it's not that people are barely hanging on. People are already broken. The only way they're able to survive is to get themselves in more and more debt. So then we got that going on. We got ongoing inflation, and this inflation issue. I know a lot of people are like, oh, the new administration's in, and not here to talk politics, but I'm like, look, this is not some easy fix that one dude's just going to come in and fix overnight. This has been multi decades that have got us into this mess. We've never seen debt at magnitudes of scale this size ever, not just consumer debt, but global debt, government debt. Like, this isn't a quick fix, and when we look at real estate, it's much more like poker than it is chess. So many people think that, oh man, if I just make all the right moves, everything's going to align and things are going to get amazing. No, it's more like poker, man. Like, you are dealt this hand, and certain times you might like the hand that you're dealt. Certain times you might not like the hand that you're dealt. I don't think any of us really necessarily like the hand that we're dealt in this market. Just like I didn't like the hand I was dealt during the great financial crisis, meaning if we look at the market being the poker hand that we are dealt, but like a great poker player, doesn't matter the hand that you're dealt. You go out there and play the cards that you were dealt to the best of your ability and make your goals a reality regardless. Like, I did not enjoy having to go knock on people's doors and evict them and hand them cash for key notices and show up with the sheriff sheriff's guns drawn, have to evict them and impound their cars and all their furniture and all their belongings. Like, all that sucked, right? But it was the cards that we were dealt, how we had to pivot, how we had to shift, how we had to adapt. So it's, hey, here's the cards that we are dealt. How do we best go out there, pivot, shift, and adapt accordingly, and just dealing in realities with this? And the probability of mortgage rates, getting much lower is very, very low. The probability is much higher that they're going to increase versus getting lower. So when we look at all this, again, what I'm prepping for and what I'm planning for is 2025 to be the hardest market that we've seen in a long time, probably since the Great Depression, or maybe even more so than that. Much harder than 2024, harder than 2023. And I'm expecting this to be a long-term thing. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't have a crystal ball. I could be wrong on all of this. But I've just found that if you hope for the best, plan for the worst, it's the best way to go out there and hedge inside our real estate businesses. Okay, so now I want to walk you through the 2 reasons as to why I'm seeing real estate agents struggle so difficult or so on such a massive scale right now. And there are 2 primary reasons. Number 1, they're continuing to just wing it. They're not treating their business as a business, and they're just winging it. What are the red flags to how I know if you are just winging it inside your real estate business? Okay, you show up today. You're like, oh, I'm going to work hard today. You show up in front of your computer, a home office, business office, whatever. You're like, oh, I'm going to work hard today. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, what am I going to do? That's just a red flag. Boom, you are just winging it. You need to know every single day, every single week, every single month exactly what you must do with precision, which I'll get into talking about how to create your strategy plans because it's so insanely important today, making sure we're targeting the right people with the right precision, but you got to know what you got to do every day, every week, every month to go out there and win. Number two, how I know somebody's winging it is they're not tracking the most important essential KPIs inside their business. I know it's the unsexy, unfun thing to do in this industry. We all like sales. We all like, helping our customers and, whichever level that you're at, whether it's recruiting buyers, sellers, agents, whatever, that's the stuff that's fun that we enjoy doing. This living in spreadsheets isn't the fun, the fun element of this business. But if you don't know your numbers, you are going to fail. When you know your numbers, it creates predictability. So now you know exactly, again, with precision, what you must do to go out there and win. It's also the only area and only way to see improvement and areas of improvement inside your business. Because I can tell you right now, the quickest way to double or triple is to double or triple your hours, isn't to double or triple, the amount of leads that you're getting. The quickest way to double or triple is to get 2 or 3 times better at what you're already currently doing. So when I'm tracking, okay, like number of leads per lead source, the number of dials, so number of reach outs, number of conversations, number of appointments set, number of appointment conductions, number of clients, number of closings, not only does that create that predictability, but now I can sit there and see, let's just say as an example, you have 50% appointments set to conduction ratios, which is industry average. Well, it's very easy to get that up to a 75%. There are 4 things that you need to do, that you need to hone in, that you need to dial in. And if you want in Q&A, I can go into what those 4 things are, but we got to dial those in, right? Very quick and easy to go out there and do that. Let's just say, okay, you're at a 50% appointment conduction to client taken rate. Okay, you should be at 85% or greater. Again, really easy. It's just a skill set, process game to go out there and turn those things around. But we get those 2 numbers up, just those 2 numbers from industry average to where they should be. Dude, like you've 2 to 3x your business by just getting those 2 things up without having to work more hours, without having to generate more leads, without having to, spend more money, on those things, right? So okay, so number 1 is they're still just winging it. Number 2 is they're still playing defense. So defense meaning you're relying on the low-hanging fruit. Defense meaning more meaning that you're just waiting for crap to come to you. So waiting for past clients, sphere of influence, but just waiting for crap to come to you and fall in your lap. Like right now, you got to play offense and you got to play what I call strategic offense, which I'll jump into here in just a moment. So let's first jump into treating your business as a business to ensure that you're not just winging it. And there's multiple components to this. So number 1, as I talked about earlier, is you've got to make sure that you have a strategy plan with precision. So you know exactly who you're targeting, how you're going to be reaching out to them, what you need to be doing. You got to know every single day what you need to do to go out there and win every day, every month, every week, every month to go out there and win. So you got a strategy plan with precision. And I'm going to get into that here next to walk you guys through how to go out there and create that. Then number 2, you got to make sure that your processes are dialed in. So all our processes are. So many people in this business talk about systems and processes, but they really don't understand what they even are. So your processes are just the step-by-step actions that you take to get the desired result that you want. Like here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3, here's step 4. So this is just my strategy plan broken down into bite-sized step chunks. Then those processes live inside of our systems. Our systems then ensure our processes are executed on the same way each and every single time, ensure things don't get missed, and allow us to execute on our process in the most effective and efficient manner. I get people all the time that come to me in this industry are like, oh, Josh, I need to improve my systems. What systems do you recommend? I'm like, well, that's an impossibility for me to tell you that without knowing what your processes are, to identify what your processes are. That's an impossibility without knowing exactly what your overall strategy plan is. Like all the way down to even your website and CRM. Like Follow Up Boss, as an example, great CRM. If you're doing outbound prospecting, if you're doing a lot of Zillow leads, great CRM. But for me and my business, because I do so much digital marketing, that platform, that system is lacking so many key functions that I need based on the way that I do and run my business, where somebody else might run their business in a different way, and that might be the best system for them, even though it's not the best for me, and vice versa. So we want to have a strategy plan with precision dialed in. Then we have that chunk down in processes, those processes living inside of systems. Then we got to make sure that we are tracking every essential KPI inside of our business. So and when I break this down, it's okay, like how many leads are you generating from what sources? And we want to separate it per source. how many reach outs, how many conversations, how many appointments set, appointment conductions, clients, closings. So then you know exactly how much energy and effort to equate to a closing that you need to go out there and do. And for those of you that are involved in agent attraction, agent recruiting, if you're at that level like I am in my business, it's the same thing. Again, it's all the same process. So many team leaders and broker owners think that, oh, because my title's different, that my things are just different for me. No, it's all the same. It's all the same damn process, man. It's like you're either recruiting buyers, recruiting sellers, or you're recruiting agents, or eventually you're recruiting your leadership team to do those things for you. But it's all the same crap. So then we got to make sure that we're tracking. And then eventually you have to have the ability, if you want to continue to grow and scale, to plug in the right leverage, meaning the right people. You got to know who to hire, when to hire, how to hire, all of those things. That's a skill set that eventually you need to master. That's what I mean by treating your business as a business. Just to recap that: strategy with precision, processes, systems, tracking, and then eventually plugging in the people. Now let's talk about strategic offense. So this is two words, right? Strategic and then offense. So let me first break down strategic. In a market like this, where we have very low transaction volume, kind of in this gridlock where sellers don't want to sell, or if they do want to sell, they're not being realistic, right? So you got sellers that don't want to sell because where the hell are they going to go? They don't want to give up the 3% rate. You got buyers that can't really enter the marketplace to buy because we're in this unaffordability, just life, whatever you want to call it, issue that we are in. So right now we don't want to shotgun shit out there. We want to operate like you are a sniper with a sniper scope, right? So this is what I'm talking about: strategy of operating like you are a sniper with a sniper scope. So how do I know if you have the wrong strategy? If you're like, well, Josh, I'm doing all this lead gen, lead follow-up, I'm having all these conversations, but people just don't have urgency to go out there and make a move. They don't have urgency, like there's just no motivation there. Okay, you're targeting the wrong people. I want you to understand and know that sales is all about pain and pleasure. People are experiencing a pain with their current situation. They want out of that pain and get to pleasure. So with real estate, okay, they're experiencing a pain with their current real estate situation. They want out of that pain. They want to get to pleasure. The more that you can target people that are in deeper pain, the more urgency that you have. And when I was saying earlier, the market's always good for somebody. It's our job to identify whom the market's good for. It doesn't always mean that it's good for them per se. What it means is that that's where there's opportunity at. That's where the pain is at. When I was, during the great financial crisis, focusing on short sales and foreclosures, that wasn't necessarily a good scenario and a good situation for them to be in, but that was pain. That was where the opportunity was at. So an example with this, my number 3 listing source right now inside my real estate business, and has been for the last 2 years, is people going through a divorce. Okay, we're in the most unaffordable time to be alive as a U.S. citizen. Number 1 reason for divorce is financial hardship, right? So divorces is on the skyrocket. Okay, probability of people going through a divorce, needing to sell that home, sell that asset, to split that asset as they're going through this divorce, very, very high. So that's what I'm talking about, strategic of, okay, who we are going to target. Then from there, when I'm talking about offense, well, let me go deeper into strategy here, because there's 4 overall parts to it that we got to make sure that we are laser focused on right now. And this is so damn important. So I hope you guys are paying attention and taking notes. So step number 1 of this is you got to identify, okay, who are you going to target? Whom are you going to target? And break it down. Hey, do I want to be focused on buyers? Do I want to be focused on sellers? Combination of both, or rentals? Whatever. It's all good. Yeah, right. But whom am I going to target? So let's just say sellers right now. Okay, there's 5 listing niches, at least for me, that I'm getting hands down the best results on, that I'm targeting, that again have the highest level of urgency. So we got expireds, we got FSBOs, always have been great. My whole entire career, these have been great. I don't necessarily know what their pain is, but I know that they've raised their hand that there's pain there. So then from there, we've got absentee owners. Now, absentee owners aren't going to be great for everybody in all markets, but markets like mine here in Phoenix, Arizona, California, Florida, Texas, if you're in like Atlanta, that are in markets where you got prices coming down, you got cap rate compressions, rents coming down for the first time in multiple decades. Then from there, we got tenant eviction skyrocketing. You got 30% of tenants throughout the country right now that are behind on rents right now. So you got tenant evictions up about 65% from pre-pandemic levels, but then they got hold costs skyrocketing. You got taxes going way up, you got insurance going way up, you got cost of maintenance going way up, right? So if they want to sell at or close to peak pricing before their situation gets ugly, okay, now is a great time to target absentee owners that are in that position situation, because again, they're in pain. So we got absentee owners, got people going through a divorce, and then we got NODs, so notice of defaults. So one of the differences with notice of defaults today versus what I experienced during the great financial crisis is during the great financial crisis, they're pretty much all short sales. Now, today, the majority of them have the equity. Not that we're still not doing some short sales, but the majority of them have equity. They just can no longer hang on. Because even if you're at a 3% fixed mortgage, your mortgage payments are going up every single year because of insurance, taxes, the rest of life going up. I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but you have 12% of all FHA loans throughout the United States right now are currently in 30+ day default status. That's only 2% lower than the peak of the great financial crisis. And then people are like, well, why aren't we seeing all these foreclosures? Well, you got Fannie, you got Freddie, you got HUD. Now that 20% of their institutional ownership has been acquired through these big private equity firms, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, and HUD's really led the way of this in 2012. Instead of going to the market with REO, they just started packaging up anything that met these institutions, buy boxes and selling it to them direct. So like Fannie Mae is an example, all their underperforming paper, they're selling direct to private equity firms. So I don't necessarily know if we'll see REO like we did before. Just because it's a different vehicle, they have different ways of operating, but notice the defaults are on the massive rise right now. You got almost 5% of all mortgages based on all types right now nationwide on single family attached residents that are in default status. So all 5 of those, okay, great, great people to go out there and target if you're focused on the listing side. Then if you're focused on the buy side, again, break this down. I'll just use my market as an example, but I'm like, okay, who's my market good for if you're a buyer? Well, because our prices have skyrocketed so high over that we went from being in the top 5 most affordable metros in the United States to in the top 5 least affordable. So it's like, dude, if you're not making 200+ grand household income, like you're not really a valid, viable buyer in our marketplace. So, okay, I'm targeting on 40 to 55-year-old married couples that are buying the last move up purchase of their lifetime. That's where I'm really targeting and focusing on buyers. Then from there, I'm like, okay, well, who is my market to win for? Locals are like, dude, this house that's $850 today, 6 years ago was $300. That's ridiculous, right? So then I'm targeting, okay, like I know the top 10 states and the top metros within those states that people are moving to my market from. So, okay, one of my best converters right now is San Francisco Bay Area, running a ton of ads up there, right? So now when I'm targeting them, okay, they are moving from a 100-year-old house, 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,300 square foot home. This is their words, not mine, that they no longer feel safe letting their kids ride their bikes in the streets because of all the drugs and homelessness. They're able to sell that, come move to my market, buy what feels to be a mansion to them for $850. That's, brand new, move-in ready, completely safe, none of the BS, great schools and the BS that they're dealing with there. For them, they're like, holy shit, this is such a massive win. Right. So looking at and okay, who is my market a win for? Breaking down what's the buy side, sell side. So step number 1 is we got to identify, okay, who are we going to target? Step number 2, when it comes up with our lead gen strategy is, okay, how are we going to target them? Now the how, because it all works. Like, okay, whether I pick it, like, okay, I'll use expireds as an example. If you're anything like me, I hate cold calls. It's not that cold calls aren't effective. They are. They work great, and I'm good at them. I can make it. I just hate doing it, man. It's just my least favorite thing to do out of all the things to do in this business, to go out there and get business. Some people love it. I personally hate it. So, okay, with expireds, I've developed a really effective expired letter campaign where I just mail the letter campaign to them. Then boom, now they're calling me. So we're getting, 10+ expired listings every single month through just a letter campaign where I'm not having to chase them down and call them. So like, dude, I don't care if you're calling them. I don't care if you're door knocking. I don't care if you're doing mailer campaigns. If you're getting that data, scraping it, putting them into custom audiences on social media and run targeting ads to them, it all works. But here's one thing that you got to pay attention to. And so one thing I'm always working with my coaching clients is, okay, like what are your strengths? What are your skill sets? What do you enjoy? All of those things. But then from there, I'm also looking at what's your personal timeline. Like meaning how long can you go without a paycheck before you're in trouble? Right? So, okay, with that expired mailer campaign, here's an example just using expires, right? Phones versus letter campaigns. My average inbound call, my expired letter is after letter number 8, which is 6.2 months post expiration. So, okay, now on average then, by the time I get that call, get it listed at 7 months into it. So we're talking like a 9-month paycheck. Now, if somebody came to me and said, hey, dude, I need listings like yesterday. Okay. Then it's probably going to be hitting the phones. Like I can go hit the phones heavily this week and guaranteed to go out there and get several listings this week by hitting the phones. So we got to really pay attention to what is your personal timeline. Yeah, I get about a call a week where I'll have somebody come to me because I do free coaching calls. If you can always learn more about those at gsdmode.com or jump on a free Zoom coaching call with you for 60 minutes and break down your business. But I get this a lot. People are like, dude, I want to grow my business through YouTube and Instagram or social media organic. And I'm like, those things are amazing. I do those too. They're absolutely amazing freaking lead sources. But then I'll ask them, how long can you go without a paycheck free in trouble? And they'll say something like 4 months. I'm like, okay, here's the conundrum. Like with YouTube is an example. You do everything right. You don't make one mistake. Depends on what market, but on average, it's going to be 9 to 12 months before you start seeing consistent business come from that. So you're going to run out of money before you start seeing the fruits of these labors. So I'm not saying to not do that. Let's focus on the long-term plays. But in the meantime, maybe we start stacking in open houses, which is the quickest way to now immediate money. So we can start getting you paychecks in 90 days or 120 days. And then eventually that other stuff will kick up and replace the open houses or the prospecting based, more immediate style based. So then now we can just, stay consistent on those, those other sources. So we got, okay, who we're going to target. Then we identify how we're going to target them. Then we got to make sure that our message is matching that person. This is really important, right? Great marketers understand that they got to enter the conversation going on in that person's mind. So how I speak to an expired is different than a FSBO, different than somebody going through a divorce, different than an absentee owner, different than NOD. How I converse with and speak to a Zillow lead is different than how I speak to a Facebook lead, different than an open house lead, right? There's going to be different messaging, and you got to make sure that your message is matching that consumer based on that lead source and what's going on and where they're at. Then the last element to this is you got to make sure that you've got the right process. So process is going to be like how long, how frequent, and which mediums do I need to have my ongoing follow-up to maximize conversions. So that's what I mean by being very strategic with our lead gen client acquisition strategies, right? Then on the secondary component, here's offense. So offense, again, is I'm not waiting for anything to come to me. I'm going after it, right? So again, example of this, I get a lot of people that come to me like, oh, Josh, I know that you target divorces. Do you just go after divorce attorneys? I'm like, no. Not saying to not do that, but that's going to be kind of like a secondary side hustle. Because again, that's me waiting for that business to come to me. I'm playing offense right now in this market, in this low transaction volume climate. I'm going after it. So I'm going to get the data directly. And whether it be, call campaigns, mailer whatever, I'm doing activities where I'm in full control, where my fate's in my own hands. I'm going after it. So that's what I mean by strategic offense. Then the last thing that I'm going to get into here, which will be really quick, then we'll jump into you guys' questions, is look, in life and in business, there's times of peace and there's times of war. We just got out of a decade of peace, the longest bull market in recorded history, the longest real estate expansion in recorded history, the longest economic expansion in recorded history, 2012 through 2022. Times of peace are always followed by times of war. And it's true for overall life. It's true for business. We are now in business war. So right now is one of these times where, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. You got to fricking work your ass off. You're probably gonna have to work harder, probably gonna have to be more focused and be more intentional than you've ever been in your career. I know I definitely am. So this is one of those times where my recommendation to you guys is to not seek balance. That will come in the future, right? This is a time where, hey, you got to do what you got to do to grow your business, to take care of you, take care of your family, take care of your business. And then over time, like this too shall not last. It will not last forever. Here's the brilliant part about all of this is the fact that, okay, 70% of realtors didn't close a transaction last year. So let's just say there's 2 million overall realtors. Okay, that means 1.4 million of them are out of the game. There's only 600,000 of us actually out there competing. So now is an amazing time to go out there and build that brand share, build that market share. It's going to take more intentionality, more focus, working harder. I've been doing this 20 years. I'm working harder and more hours than I've ever had in my 20-year career. And part of that is because I want to take advantage of all this brand share that I know is going to become available. I think that I truly believe that right now is the biggest opportunity we're ever going to see in our entire careers because of the market climate that we are in to skyrocket our businesses to that next level. So just, again, don't seek balance right now. Just deal in realities. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Just is what it is. We got to do what we got to do. This too shall pass. All right. So I know I shotgunned a ton at you guys. I'm going to go into your different questions that you guys have in here. And I've got about 10 minutes.
Hey,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
there were two questions that I saw in the chat. My internet connection is bad, so I don't know if you guys can hear me. But the first question was for tracking. I know in the company now we have Sisu, so I feel like that's the system everybody should be using. Do you feel like Sisu, which we get for free, would do the tracking that you're recommending for the strategies that you're talking about?
Yeah. Now, full disclosure, I've never used Sisu personally. I'm aware of it. Know the founder and owner of it. I'm kind of old school. I like just going into Google Drive, creating my own Google Sheets, I can create them however I want to create them, build them however I want to build them. Super easy. I can access them on my phone. Um, uh, and I'll get people all the time, well, dude, I don't know how to build out Excel sheets or Google Sheets. I didn't either. I spent like 2 hours on a Sunday figuring it out. But yeah, I'm guessing that Sisu probably can do everything plus some and is easier. So it's definitely something I'm gonna be exploring. But dude, I just go into Google Drive,
Yeah.
and that's where I create all mine.
I'm just like that. Like I have a whole mission base of Google Sheets and spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a sample for an agent that's looking to track some basic things like what you shared that you can share, and we can send that to them later? Or what are some of the things that they should put in that Google Sheet to get it started?
Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna track number one. Okay, number of leads per lead source. And in a perfect world, you want to break this down per lead source. So let's just say, okay, I'm getting Zillow leads. Okay, I want to know, okay, how many total Zillow leads am I getting? Now, for me, it depends on what type of a Zillow account you have, but let's just say it's, a Zillow Flex account where I get live connects. Okay, how many opportunities versus connects that I actually get? So then I can work on improving that. Then, okay, let's just call it connects as actual leads. So how many leads, right? Then how many conversations? Then from there, how many appointments set, how many appointment conductions, how many clients, how many closings. Those are the main things. Again, per lead source. So whether it's open house, the same thing is, okay, how many total leads, how many reach outs, meaning dials, right? Appointments get set on the phone. So how many reach outs, how many conversations, how many appointments set, appointment conductions, clients, closings. Those are the main KPIs that I track. Then of course, your P&Ls, revenue expenses. I'm just talking on for new client acquisition. Those are the main things I'm tracking.
Okay, perfect. And then the expiry letter, what does that look like? How do they set up something similar?
Okay, so first off, in order to get a letter opened, or like to get the letter read, you first got to get it opened. So I found just a blank white envelope, blue handwritten ink, handwritten, no labels. You don't want to have any office name, office address. You want to create curiosity, first class stamp. You need to get that thing open. So that's how I structured the envelope. Then from there, okay, this is what I'm talking about. You got to understand the psychology that's going on in their mind, in their head, so your message can match. So with expires, I call it the triple whammy gut punch. So number one, they have these real estate goals that they're really excited about getting met that became unmet. Number two, their home just got rejected by the marketplace. Number three, they had an agent that promised them they could get the job done. That agent let them down. So my communication then, whether it's over the phone or whether it's through a letter or an online ad or whatever, is letting them know that, hey, your home wasn't the problem. You got a beautiful home. Your home wasn't the problem. Number two, your real estate goals can 100% still be met. Unfortunately, the mistake that you made is you hired the wrong real estate professional. The good news is I can get the job done. I'm not going to say it in those ways, but that's what I need to portray with my messaging. So my expire letter, when they open it up, I take a big picture of the front of their house. I just take it off the MLS. It's a gray area, but I look at that. I'm going to go get my own MLS photos done. I'm only using that to send it to the homeowner that's living there. So I just get a picture of the, front of their home. So it's a attention grabber, like, holy shit, that's my house. Right above that in bold print, it says, sometimes even the finest of homes do not always sell. So right out of the gate, it's, hey, your home isn't the problem. Then from there, that next paragraph is just letting them know that, hey, their real estate goals can 100% still be a reality. Then I have a list of about 8 different bullet points that show my unique selling propositions, that show my differentiator. Again, I'm just walking them through of, hey, the mistake that you made is unfortunately you hired the wrong real estate professional. The good job is I can get the job done. And then a call to action. The important thing though with the letters is, oh, go ahead.
That same letter multiple times, or do you switch the letter?
Dude, I've been doing this letter for 18 years now. I've split tested so many different things. And what I found, it sounds weird, but what I found to be best is the same letter every time. So I send it day 1, then every 21 days for 6 months, then every 6 months for 2 years.
Awesome. Excellent. Last question real quick. Somebody asked, and I'm sure everybody wants to know, why now? Like EXP, I'm sure was in your radar for a very long time. And we're blessed to have you be part of our family now. What made that decision now the best time ever to be part of this company?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot that led to it, but so I've been trying to build my own thing. We got to the point where we were nationwide, had 105 locations, and with all the lawsuit stuff. I mean, because when you're bootstrapping, it was like, okay, people sound like, oh, you got thousands of agents, 100, whatever. It's like, it sounds like, but it's like, dude, every penny that we were making was going back into the growth of the organization. So it wasn't like we had deep pockets, and it was, and I had multiple friends that got completely wiped out. It's something that we don't hear about in the media, that were under the NAR threshold, but didn't have the deep pockets like EXP or these other big companies to go out there and stroke the, 80 or $100 million checks or whatever they were, that they were forced to, 20 years hard work down the drain, so that played a part in it, and the biggest thing that I was actually just telling Jose this before we jumped on this is, look, the hardest thing I had to do was just give up my ego. I was always like, oh, I'm going to go do my own thing. But when I started really assessing, okay, what's my mission? What's my vision to go out there and impact as many real estate agents' lives as I possibly can? And once I could give up my ego and then be like, hey, I can partner with this organization that already has the infrastructure. They already have the systems. They've already got everything in place. Now I can just bring in my coaching and training and really supporting my agents. I'm like, dude, like it became a no-brainer. Yeah, right. So that's why now. And I'm not getting any younger. My coach was walking me through an exercise about 8 months ago, about a year ago, that really led me to the decision, which was, long-term goals. And then she was just like, okay, what's the vehicle to get you there? And I was just at a loss. I'm like, dude, been at this 20 years. All the vehicles I have so far aren't going to get, I need a better vehicle, and the interesting thing, I get hit up by a lot of people like, dude, how did you get recruited to EXP? I'm like, nobody recruited me, right? Like I came to the conclusion on my own. And then even the sponsor that I chose, I've known him for 7 years, never once tried to recruit me. Right. It was just, hey, this was hands down. I truly believe, especially now that I'm here and I'm witnessing and seeing it, that this is the best vehicle that exists on the planet for us to go out there and grow and scale and create whatever it is that we want to create.
Boom. Well, thank you so much, Josh. Absolutely awesome. We're going to be respectful of your time because I know you have a hard stop, so we'll let you go. And everybody else stay here and let's do some takeaways. Let's take some takeaways to contribute. But thank you so much. Appreciate you, and see you in the next one.
All right. Thank you, guys. It was an honor. Keep crushing it.
All right. So Josh Soto, let's start with you. What was your takeaway? Then we're going to have Cord. She will jump in here. Let's have Cord join us on the screen as well. And
I think my number one, I'll be honest with you, I think my number one takeaway when you listen to everything that he was saying was the fact that, a lot of times, we get lost and expect things to changes to happen really quick, and they're not going to happen very quick. We basically, one thing that I've learned from someone about a week ago, I heard something is like, you have to be the change. You can't expect anyone to change anything for you. We have to lead by example, Carlos. One of the things that I started doing myself was I took charge of my business. I mean, you and I had this conversation like 6 months ago, and you know what I've been doing. I dialed in really hard in the middle of 2024. Why? Because just like Joshua, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I knew changes were coming. Thank God that I've been very blessed. Just like the majority of some of us here. I've done short sale. I'm REO agent. I've done all this. But at the same token, it's not about me. I got to be able to teach it to everyone else and help our community out. So I think that when he touched on that, guys, he was on point. It just, something clicked there, and I looked at Rebecca and I was like, wow, it's like, and when you look at how crazy it is when you hear FHA mortgages are at 12% right now on default, that's huge. You know what that stands for? Those are opportunities. People can't pay their mortgages, guys. Now is your time to go around circle prospecting in a community and say, what mortgage you see right now is 30, 60, 90 days behind, and you go knock on that door or give them a call and see what's going on. So I would say that's what I got out of that one.
Love it. Cord, great friend of ours and amazing coach himself. This guy is a rock star. Blessed to have you here, fellow alpha in EXP, one of the fastest growing people in the entire company. So what you got, brother?
Thanks, gangs, for having me hang out with you guys today. I appreciate the invite. Veronica, thanks for sending that out. I think a couple of things, guys, you really have to really hone in on what he was talking about. At 5% of all the mortgages are in default. That is a massive, that's millions of people. I mean, guys, think about the number here. So the opportunity is absolutely incredible if you really focus. And I mean, Josh, I don't want to just piggyback on what you said, but you were going down a path that I was excited about listening, because that's exactly right. If you want to find where's a niche, where's something you can do that no one else around you is doing, these are the things. If you really listen to how he broke down the strategies and went into just really quickly, but went real deep, real fast, on each of those areas of where the money was before, but why is it not as fruitful today? Here's where the money's at today. Here's where you can diversify. And that's why the people, and he said it to you guys straight out, that when times like this and tough times get there, the top people are always going to make the most amount of money. When the market crashed, he got into 2005, I got into 2004. The market crashed in 2007, 8, 9. I made the most amount of money prior to EXP was right there in 2009, 10, 11. I made a lot of money solving a problem. I started a company called Marketplace Homes by coming up with a solution. People that were losing their houses, I put them in what's called Second Lease on Life program, and I put them in other people's houses who couldn't sell because they're upside down. I got thousands, and for those 3 years, I sold a little over 4,400 homes. So I sold over 4,000 homes in those 3 years when the market was dead and you couldn't sell a house. Because I got people to buy a new house with a builder. The builder paid me a flat fee commission. I did it all over the country, and I took the people who were stuck, keep their existing house, don't sell it because they couldn't sell it, they're upside down, and move into the new house, which is what they needed to do because there's a necessity. Divorces, growing families, more kids. These things are all happening. If the market sucks, too bad. It's still happening to them. So they have to move. You come up with a solution, you're going to make a lot of money. So the solution is the key to that whole thing. And I love the way he was breaking it down. And I mean, he was talking my language. I was kind of excited listening. And the last thing I'll tell you, if you listen to why he joined here and you don't jump on that, earlier this week, or I guess a week ago now, Veronica brought and her team, Carlos and Gil, and they brought Spring Benson over. She is the #1 baller there is at the company.
I don't appreciate being talked about, okay?
I love talking about you, girl. You know I do. And the thing is to understand why she came over, and Veronica got her to do this video. That video is amazing. If you haven't watched it, go watch it 10 times. And I mean, watch it over and over and over, and it'll just sit in your head because this will help you grow your business, guys. It's your recruiting pitch. Literally listen to what she says and listen to what he just said. Carlos, if you could share me just a copy of the video of this recording, if you caught that last piece.
Absolutely.
That's all I need. I just need that last piece. I wrote my notes down. I write notes on everything. I was writing all my notes down on here while he was talking because there's so many great things to really just break it down and just take it simple. Guys, you don't have to learn everything. Learn one thing and break it down and keep it really consistent with yourself. And you'll hear what he did. Do that. And if you listen to why he joined here, like he said, what's their long-term goal? What's your vehicle? Meaning, how the hell are you going to get there? And you can't get there where they're at. You cannot get there where they're at if that's their goal. Know that. Spring said it's phenomenal. And Veronica, I love you for that one. That was probably the best gift you could have gave any of us was that. So thank you.
Hey, listen, that one is for all of us. Spring, we're super excited. And what we found is winners want to be in the room with other winners. They make us better. They want to come and lead. I'm inspired by her. By the way, mark your calendars, March 16th through the 18th. If you haven't already booked Cabo, right after Cabo, you should go out to spring break. We've got John Cheplack going to be speaking. Spring is bringing the best speakers. But this week, she's actually going to go live on Thursday for those of you who are interested in why. Understanding the mindset, understanding the reason behind it, what she saw about our company versus being at another company with grace and always, respecting where we come from. But this Thursday, we are going live. I'll make sure that we promote it, that you guys all have it. But this is your opportunity to be on. The momentum that we have right now, not only with Abel and so many other leaders coming on, is one that you guys, this should be a case study for you to understand a pivotal moment when businesses separate themselves from everyone else. Everyone else can say that they're the next, but we are the only. The truth is we are truly the only when it comes to, we're playing a completely different game, guys. We're not playing T-ball. We're not playing YMCA. This is the NFL. This is the big leagues. This is who we choose to be, and look at the talent that's coming on, but analyze the mindset. Spring is going to tell you that the decision came when she was preparing for the New York City Marathon. She was preparing, and this is an endurance athlete who she hiked Mount Everest, a simulation 8 times last year, put her body through an immense amount of pain, put her mind through an immense amount of challenging activities, because we're always looking for that next level. And in reading the book 10X over 2X, she asked herself, what am I leaving on the table by playing small? What am I not seeing on the other side of it? Yeah, I'm winning over here, but what am I not seeing of all the other opportunities because I was playing it safe? And some of us, and even yesterday in church, it was like, it's got, one thing is to be a leader, but to be a courageous leader, courage oftentimes means it's a little bit painful. Right. So to be a leader, sometimes we want it to just feel good and to feel like winning, but to be courageous oftentimes includes a little bit of discomfort and pain. But what it gets you to on the other side is something that you've got to believe with blind faith. And I'm super excited. I really want you guys to build a relationship. I want you guys to be excited about. We've got some amazing new things that are going to come out this month, and I'm sorry, next month, and supporting Leo's vision with Fast Cap, guys. This is our moment. Let's go help agents. Agents want to be productive.
Veronica, what did you do yourself? We talked about this the other day. You got to take your ego. And Josh said it straight out. His biggest thing what kept him from coming here for so long. Why now? When you guys asked that, great question, by the way, whoever asked that. Thank you for asking that to him. But the truth is, he had to get his ego in check. And Spring told me the same thing when I just talked to her on Monday last week. She told me the same thing. She said the only thing I had to get past the last piece was my own ego, because I was the biggest fish in that pond. She was the biggest player there. She was the Veronica, the Brent Gove. She was the Gene Frederick. That's what she was to real. She was that person. And to say, I don't want to be that, because she told me I need to be here where the bigger people are, who are a lot bigger than me. Her organization and my organization are almost the exact same size. And I'm number 23 here, right? 23. That means there's 22 other people with bigger organizations than I do that are killing it here. Her and I were the same. Coming here, she's in the 20s. She's got so many people to tap into and the resources. And she had recognized that and took her ego out of play. Phenomenal. I mean, that's so unbelievable.
Poet said that we want to watch how people think, not what they do, right? Like everything that you've seen this week, and even Joshua Smith and every big leader, they have a different mindset, right? And Joshua's like, hey, these are not times for balance. These are times for market share.
Market share. Listen,
And revenge war. So at the end of the day, watch the mindset and level up your mindset, and the tactics become clear to you.
Someone asked me what was the script for spring, and I'm going to teach you something that you guys should stop thinking about, get out of your head. Because I'm in, whether you believe it or not, before I was in the recruiting game, I was in the prospecting game for listings, and that's what I was focused on. It's called ring, ring, pick up the phone. It was ring, ring, we should do dinner. Ring, ring, we should spend time together. And relationships trump. And other people knew her before me, but I got curious enough to go deeper to find out what her dreams were. And when you can help people unlock their dreams, she said to me, I said to her, how come you never called me to go to Real? She says, because I thought you were unrecruitable. And in that same dinner, she said, oh shit, did you just recruit me? I was like, do you want to be recruited? Because if you want to be recruited, I'm happy to recruit you. But honestly, I just want to know what's important to you and what's important to your dreams. I didn't have to teach her how to sell houses. I didn't have to teach her how to build a downline. But what I could open her mind to was a world that she wasn't seeing. And I hope that this inspires you guys to stop overcomplicating business. Connect deeper with people. And if, I got out the way, I knew I couldn't take her to the finish line. Guess who I called? Leo, the closer. And, I've got to hop on another call to welcome her, and another call that we're doing. And Curtis, you might be on that call. But guys, many, many good things are coming. Lots of lessons to be learned here. This is our year. Who do you need to call that you're so scared that they're going to say no? Put me on a call. Put Kurt on a call. Put Carlos on a call. We're here to help you guys. This is the time where we help you build your dreams. Don't overcomplicate this. We're in the people business.
Yeah, reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out to anybody, guys. Any of us will help you. Make sure you reach out.
Nobody reached out to GSD mode. Can you believe that? Like, that tells you the bigger they are, the less calls they get. So who are you going to call today? Let's go. See you next week, guys. And let's crush it. And let's invite more people here. Bring a friend next time. Talk to you later.